last but not least, we have, where is Casey? From IBM Research. There you are, Casey. You moved chairs. I thought you were back there. Now you're here. From IBM Research, Casey Dugan. Casey, come on down. Oh, wait, actually, take a seat. Okay.
Not mine. There we go. Hi, guys. I'm Casey. Now, Adam, I'm sorry, but I kind of feel like your talk, you were a little bit of a doomer about AI. I don't know. I, on the other hand, am a dreamer. I am, some might say, the chief dreamer of the future of work. And a very smart lady told me that we should add a little bit of intrigue to these talks. So here's my intrigue. I'm not going to tell you the title of my talk yet, but I will tell you about me. I live in Cambridge, and that's a picture of me. It's a selfie. I have also spent 17 years researching the future of work with some members of the audience, actually. That screenshot was some sentiment analysis, some employee engagement, some AI. Also, I really like taking selfies with animals, and that giraffe who I was feeding some carrots to, it was making fun of me. And Sophia has my Starbucks back there. So, my big idea for the future of work is actually that the future of work isn't just about work. It's about work and play, and maybe sometimes some AI. Not all the time. Like, you know that humans can have fun without AI too, right? So, first I thought we could go over some trends that I'm seeing in work, the future of work, some AI too. So, who watches NPR? Oh, thank you, ladies. I mean, thank you for participating. So, NPR had this really cool 3-part series in 2022 where they're like, the way we spend our time is 33% of people spend, a lot of time at work. Who spends a lot of time at work? And 33% of people spend their time at play, or maybe it was like 33% of their time. But there was actually a guy a long time ago, labor reformist, named Robert Owens. He was very mathematically dedicated to saying 8 hours of labor, 8 hours of recreation, and 8 hours of rest. Seems a bit dogmatic, but sure, we get it. 33, 33, 33. So I made a chart for that. Now, at the bottom of the chart, you see, I'm asking you guys, do you guys like to have fun? Only some of you do. Literally only some of you are laughing. And also, I think if we're going to get into it, there's not like all the good things going on with work these days, right? There's like workism, there's techno stress, there's economic and social stress, but then work gives you purpose and money and some growth and learning. There was actually this thing about workism in both the Atlantic and Fast Company. We're not doing so well in America on that. But, some people are thinking about that. Also, we're not as happy as Finland, according to some studies. So, getting back to work and play, I believe that if we add a little bit more playfulness to work, it might actually get to some of the human connection Wagner spoke of, which I'm sure we'll speak of soon. And really, there was a great experimental psychologist, Susanna Millar, who wrote that play is whether you do it in your leisure time, your work time, it's really about enjoyment, relaxation, satisfaction. Those seem like a good employee engagement things, guys. Miguel Sicart also talked about playfulness as more of an attitude, not necessarily play in particular. And then me in particular, my research hypothesis is that if we really focus on that whole adding play at work, we could do even better. I mean, I literally study some of this for a living as part of HCI. I'm an HCI researcher, which is human-centric AI. It's a thing. I mean, I've studied this kind of thing for a while. I mean, we built one of the first social things in enterprises like 2005 to 2007. We studied people on social media using gamification as well. There were a lot of projects about selfies, guys. I really love selfies. And also, I was trained by one of the founding woman of computer-supported cooperative work, Irene Greif. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I ran out of time putting together my slides, so I didn't have a chance to put all the games that my team has done in the past about being able to detect poisoning attacks or adversarial attacks on AI systems, but you can read the papers. But actually, there's also like work on, AI and the human connection, play at work. Look! And actually, there's some holiday cards that my team is generating right now without me, because I'm here. And it's all about how we can use either human art or human plus AI art to be able to have a little bit of fun and employee engagement and focus on diversity. And my team is the funnest team in the whole wide world. Now, for just a little bit of bonus joy, even though I only have less than a minute left, I'm going to give you guys some book tips. This stuff about joy and human connection and purpose in life and work, I didn't make any of this up. I mean, Ingrid Fettel-Lee, who wrote Joyful, is an amazing designer. And those other two guys seem like cool spiritual gurus or something. They know some things way more than me. So, last slide. I actually generated that art on the left because I'm a little bit of a human artist, if you're going to make me pick. But I hope everyone will have a little bit more fun at work tomorrow. Your meetings will be joyful and delightful. And I also hope you'll be inspired to do some cool things with AI and human-centric AI. And thanks to the A-Team for updating my slides.
All right. Thank you, Casey. That was fascinating. All right, we're going to bring everyone back up for a little bit of Q&A. Hey, you want to finish your slides now, Wagner? You're good, Adam. All right, I'll walk around with the mic. Do we have any questions from the audience? Anyone? Do we have anything virtually, Benji? All right, I'll have one that I jotted down here that I'd love to hear more about. So, Adam, on the regulation side, right? You have customers that you're advising that they need to have more of a human in the loop approach, right? Like, what's more of the specific advice you give around implementing that? Because that's probably the buzz phrase of the day right now. But like, how do you actually do that in a way that's going to set you up for success or safety?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on, as Wagner was saying, what is the use case? What is the AI use case, right? So I would say the most common generative AI use case that we see for most of our clients is helping code, right? Well, in that case, the policies that a lot of our clients have put in place and the advice we give them, and really the advice that the CTOs want to put in place, is that code is 70% good, 75% good. And it does speed up the thing, but it still needs someone to review it from a quality perspective. It still needs to go through the same code review process that a human written code should go through. And it's that kind of philosophy across any type of use case that we're saying when we talk about human oversight, which is the technology is not at the stage yet where you can just turn it loose unsupervised and assume you're going to get good results.
Interesting. So is there like a particular structure that you recommend to sort of how you're setting this up within your team?
It really varies, right? So if you take the legal example, right? In the legal industry, if people just use ChatGPT or a GPT engine to do legal research, you end up like a set of New York lawyers did, or recently a Colorado lawyer, who get disciplined by the court because they didn't review the cases that GPT, right? And some of it's prompt engineering, right? They asked it the wrong question. Give me these cases, but there weren't any, so it made them up because that's what it was asked to do. It's what I like to call the Amelia Bedelia problem, for those of you who remember those books, right? And so ultimately, right, what should have happened is a lawyer or that lawyer who asked the question should have looked up and made sure those cases were real. They didn't. And that's where you got the problem. So in that case, it would just be someone reviewing the work because it's being there presenting as their work product. In a code situation, it would be different. So there's not like a one size fits all answer to it, but it's usually people are using generative AI today to replace an existing work stream. And what we're suggesting about human oversight is just that the technology isn't there that it can run unsupervised. Much like you wouldn't take someone off the street and ask them to do something and assume the work product was perfect. The same is true with generative AI right now.
That makes a lot of sense. Any questions from out there? Yeah.
Adam, a question to you. It's easy to check facts and to check if code works, but how about creative work where, say, writer is augmenting their writing with AI? So the writer oversees, but then does he or she owns the end product?
Well, so there's two questions in there that they're both really good questions. One is, right now in the United States, no one owns the output of generative AI. It's not copyrightable, right? That's what the Copyright Office has said. So if an author is using generative AI to generate text, the text that author generates is not copyrightable. The author doesn't own it. The company who has the generative AI doesn't own it. No one owns it. It's not copyrightable work. In terms of what I think is also inherent in that question is, well, what happens if the generative AI takes someone else's work and kind of plugs it into your work, right? And that's a really tricky question. And that's why a lot of the LLMs like OpenAI and Microsoft have recently announced their pledges to say, if you get sued because of the output of the generative AI is infringing, we'll with limitations, we'll defend that. We'll indemnify you for that. And so I think that's, it's a problem though, right? And that's what some of these cases that have been brought are. So some of the allegations are around, well, you trained on my books and then some of my writing has filtered into other people's writing, and that's copyright infringement. And we don't know what the outcome, we have some ideas about what that's going to look like, but we don't really know for sure. That's part of the period of uncertainty that we're in.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Yeah. What if someone made their own generative AI model, and then they use that AI model to co-write with or make art or whatever? Is that copyrightable?
No.
That's not fair. That's not fair. If I make my own model and I use my own model, I did everything.
You did, except what the Copyright Office has said, and which has been litigated up to the courts, is that a machine cannot be an author. Yeah. Full stop. Yeah. And cannot be an inventor. Can't patent anything either.
We gotta fix that, guys. I mean, that's not fair.
Well, you write to your congressman.
I've got one from the virtual audience here. So knowing how much AI it will impact all industries, and where we are currently in the age of uncertainty, would you say there is space for non-coders to lead AI initiatives in their field? It's kind of an open one, but
Wagner.
No, I do believe that we passed a phase where only experts have the right to position themselves in the world. Today, especially now that we have the collective intelligence accessible to all of us, is about the human ingenuity that's going to create value. So we are talking about value. We are not talking about code. We are talking about value. And value can be created by anyone who has the capacity and capability to synthesize this huge amount of information, make sense of it, and distill into an innovation that could create value for the customer, the employee, or the stakeholder. So, of course, you could.
All right, I think that's about all the time that we have. That's a fantastic point. Call for a specific example. May from our team, I don't know if May's in the room right now, but she's built about 5 different killer marketing and sales enablement GPTs in the last 2 weeks as a non-coder. So I think that's a lot of the innovation that we're going to see into the future. Thank you all for your amazing talks, this great discussion. Casey, we'll see you a little bit later for the enterprise panel. But let's give them all a round of applause.